This year, I have the honor to do my classroom action research with Ms. Ardayan Suharyati from LIA Pengadegan, Jakarta. And as Ms. Astrid has mentioned earlier, our topic is expanding teen learners' suffix vocabulary by playing online suffix dominoes. In this presentation, we will talk about the background of the research and then the introduction to the matters, the topic. We're also going to talk about the reasons for choosing the topic. And then we will talk about some theories in the theoretical framework before we talked about or discuss the data and the results that Ms. Diane and I have gathered during our research. At the end, there will be a Q&A session where I would like to hear some questions, maybe some comments from all of you about our research paper. So let me start this presentation then. Ms. Diane, or Ms. Ardayan, was the teacher researcher in this classroom action research. She was teaching a class of a class of teen learners when she encountered a problem with her class. The learners in her class found it difficult to understand suffixes in their reading text. However, as teachers, we know that learning suffix can improve teen learners' vocabulary. When learners lack of suffix vocabulary knowledge, it can affect their learning process, especially in reading. Now, many teen learners find learning suffixes difficult, and they want something non-stressful to expand their suffix vocabulary. That's why Ms. Ardayan and I tried online suffix dominoes to expand their suffix vocabulary in a non-stressful way. Let me quote David A. Wilkins first before we go any further. So he said that without grammar, very little can be conveyed, but without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. And this brings us to the reasons why having a good knowledge of vocabulary is important or essential. Having a good knowledge of vocabulary can help teen learners, or in general, everyone, to understand others, to express more complex feelings, ideas, thoughts, and to actually grow personal relationships. It can help improve language fluency. In return, it can lead to better academic performance. And teen learners, or all learners, can develop their language skills, whether it's speaking, listening, reading, or writing. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, know what suffixes are. So this is according to the dictionary, of course. A suffix is a syllable or word placed after the root word to change the meaning or form another word. So for example, here I have 4 root words: beauty, good, tradition, and teen. And then we have 4 suffixes: full, and all, and hood. Could somebody help me to mention all the suffixes combination of these words? Anyone?
Beautiful, wooden, traditional, and teenhood.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dwi Kurnianingsih. You are absolutely correct. Beautiful, wooden, traditional, and teenhood. Now, the problem is we tend to think, oh, it's very easy. It is easy. However, teen learners have limited knowledge about it because they are not exposed to suffixes. So most of them do not realize that they are actually using suffixes in their learning. So they only know, oh, beautiful, yeah, beautiful, word, it's a word, but they don't understand that it is actually a combination of the a root word and a suffix. And that's why we choose this topic. So first of all, it is their insufficient knowledge of suffix vocabulary that hinders their understanding of the reading text. But we know that having a good knowledge of suffixes improves their performance, whether it's reading, writing, speaking, or listening. Now, we also know that learning suffixes is complex because it includes root words, as earlier I have mentioned, and then suffix words, and also parts of speech and the meaning.
Mm.
That's why teen learners need to expand their vocabulary in a non stressful way. Because, well, let's face it, teen learners are among those who find everything difficult for them. Miss, everything is difficult. Nothing is easy. That's their complaint all the time. So, our research questions were: how do online suffix dominoes expand teen learners' vocabulary? And how do they respond to the treatment to online suffix dominoes? So let's go to something more formal, to the theories of this research. According to World Health Organization, teenhood is actually the phase of life between childhood and adulthood. It is from ages 10 to 19, and according to Brizio et al., it is a bridge that helps a child to go to adult. Teen learners' characteristics are some of these. I'm sure there are more. Maybe some of you would like to add more characteristics to teen learners that I have put on the screen. Perhaps you have thought
Short concentration span.
short of concentration. Thank you, Mr. Yanda. Anything else? They have short attention span because let's face it, they are still children in a way, although they are maturing to adults. So they still have that short attention span. But they have also developed some adults' characteristics, such as they can understand more abstract concepts. They have more knowledge of things than just uh, nouns that can be viewable by eyes. So it is easier for them to link the meaning and function of a word. Now, in teaching vocabulary to teen learners, Colin and Nobre said that it should not be about teaching sets of unconnected words, but the ability to see the relationship between words. It should not overburden and stress them out. Teen learners have so many activities that they want to do, and if they are given a set of words, here, these are the words that you need to memorize. They tend to rebel and say, no, I don't want to do it. I just want to play. So we should not overburden them and stress them out. And we also should utilize that liking for games and curiosity that they still have or still retain from their childhood phase. Now, expanding vocabulary, according to Paul Nation in his paper in 2008 and 2015, can help language learners get higher level of language fluency and greater academic performance. So it's not only about getting to know more words or understanding more words, but it will affect their academic performance in general. The best way to expand this is to increase exposure and get familiarized with it. That's why one of the ways that we choose to teach vocabularies is giving them the exposure. So they have the knowledge how suffixes morph root words and how they can implement those in sentences. Now, still according to Paul Nation, when learners actually know more or have a good knowledge of suffixes, they can recognize and understand a word meaning faster. So they don't have to spend, for example, we have like 300 word of reading text, and there are probably 10 or 15 suffixes there. If they don't know, if the teen learners don't know the suffixes or have poor knowledge of suffixes, it would probably take them 15 minutes to read that reading text and understand it. But according to Nation, if they know more about suffixes, they will understand it faster. And that's what we are trying to achieve in this research. Now, Dominoes, as you can see in the graphic, has been used, well, for other activities or other subjects to teach things. It's not only about teaching vocabulary. Playing dominoes is effective in helping learners familiarize themselves with new vocabulary and retain them. And that's not me talking. It is actually research by Warren in 2019. Okay. Some teachers change the dominoes with pictures and words. Some change them with pictures and pictures. And there are so many other ways to utilize these dominoes. However, since Ms. Ardayan was still teaching online at the time, we didn't use physical dominoes. We actually used the online suffix dominoes. And we are using learningapps.org as the platform to create the suffix dominoes. Sorry. It may not look like a domino, but the way to play it is just like a domino, where teen learners have to put the cards in correct order to form the right suffixes for each root word. Now let's go to the data that Ms. Ardayan and I gathered during our research. Ms. Diane's classroom at the time had 6 learners. They are between 13 to 14 years old. And they were in English for Teens 12 of LIA. Yes, it was the highest level for English for Teens. However, they still had some poor knowledge of suffixes. Now, when we did this research, we started with a pre-treatment survey. In this pre-treatment survey, we would like to know their knowledge of derivational suffixes. This is only a question. This was only a question. So they didn't actually have to demonstrate their knowledge. We just asked, how many suffixes do you know? 4 learners answered with 10 to 25 words, which is quite good. And then 1 learner, very good, answered with 25 to 50 words. However, 1 learner mentioned that he or she only knew less than 10 words of suffixes. And this brings us to really try whether these claims that they made were true. So we did a pre-treatment test. In this pre-treatment test, it showed that the claims were not true or were not really reliable at all. As you can see, 1 participant didn't give any words using suffixes, didn't give any example of words. Participant number 2 only gave 3. And the highest one only gave 6 words. So their claims that they know about 10 to 25 words could not be said as, well, True. That's why we need to do this research more. How can we expand these knowledge that they have of suffixes so they have more words that they can give as examples? Okay. Now, Miss Diane then asked them to play online suffix dominoes. These online suffix dominoes are done individually. Miss Diane gave the link during the Zoom session, and they were asked to do to play the online suffix dominoes on their own. Some participants too managed to combine all the dominoes and created the words or suffixes, the revisional suffixes that are asked by the game. However, as you can see, half of them still had difficulties. The red ones indicate that they were not properly matched. This is, or these are the results that we got from online suffix dominoes. So as you can see, two participants got very low score, and then two got very high scores, while the others are in the middle. We are trying to level these all six learners' knowledge, so none of them is below the average. Now, after they got the treatment of playing online suffix dominoes, we gave them another test. This is the post-treatment test to see how well they actually can show their understanding or their knowledge of suffix vocabulary. And surprisingly, although three people or half of them didn't match the online suffix dominance correctly, they still have better and more words to show in their post-treatment test. If you can see, the lowest one is actually 5 words, while the highest one is here in the 10. So it is an, so much improvement from the pre-treatment test. And we wonder why this happened. They didn't play their online suffix dominoes well, but they still got this improvement that they get from playing it. And then we found out that they actually are more familiarized. They understood that, oh, this suffix can be matched with this suffix. So this root word can be matched with this suffix. This root word can be matched. So although they don't really make the correct match, they are getting familiar with it. They have more knowledge. They are exposed more to the root words and to the suffixes. And this makes us come to our second question. How do they actually respond to online suffix dominoes? So before the treatment, we asked them what they think of the revisional suffixes, and they thought that the revisional suffixes are, well, hard, moderate, like nobody answered with easy or very easy. But then after
I'm
the
sorry to
treatment,
interrupt, Miss Teti. You have
yes?
3 minutes left.
Okay, thank you, Astrid. So during their online suffix dominance playing, Miss Ardain also wrote in her teacher journal how they actually responded to online suffix dominance. And Miss Diane uh, got that they played freely without any pushing, and they played without hesitation. They didn't wait for long to click the link and play it. They rely less on the teacher. They didn't ask questions how to play it or what to do. They just do it. And they feel more independent. That's why in our post-treatment results, we have those improvement.
Mm.
We have those numbers that improve, showing that teen learners actually enhance their vocabulary just by familiarizing themselves with the root words and the suffixes. As you can see, participant 1 went from 6 to 12 and 5, 12.5, and so on. Now, to answer the second question, how do they actually respond to online suffix dominoes? When we did a post-treatment survey afterward, they mentioned that the online suffix dominoes were very helpful. Oh, sorry, not very helpful. Were helpful. However, one participant mentioned that it wasn't helpful at all. Well, it is common. We cannot please everyone.
Mhm.
However, the majority of teen learners agree that playing online suffix dominoes actually help them to expand their vocabulary. There's also an interesting finding from this. We found out that li is the most common suffix that teen learners knew.
Mm.
And then ion is also ion and fo have significant improvement after the pre-treatment test. The static one is ans or ans. So they still found it difficult to mention root words and ans combination. Now, the conclusion is online suffix dominoes could give positive results just by familiarizing learners with root words and suffixes and exposing them to word formation. They feel the dominoes are a fun, non-stressful way to learn vocabulary. There will be no penalties, there will be no mistakes. They can just play it as they like it. So that's why we conclude that online suffix dominoes can actually expand teen learners' suffix vocabulary. And that's the end of my presentation. Ms. Astrid, I'm giving back the screen to you for the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you, Miss Teti. Okay, very interesting presentation. I'm sure uh, our audience have questions. Okay, so okay, I would like to give uh, the uh, the screen to our participants. Okay, do you have any questions? We have two comments from Ibu Dwi Kurniasi and Ibu Trianda. Both are from LIA Palembang. Now, I would like to give the opportunity for the rest of our audience to ask questions or to give more comments about maybe you have interest in applying this the result of Ibu Teti's research finding. Okay, Lia Depok raise hand. Okay, would you like to turn on your camera, please?
Thank you, Bu Astrid.
Yes. Okay,
Turn
this is
on
Mbak
my
Eli.
Yeah, right.
Okay. What's the question, Mbak Eli?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Ibu Rosinta and partner for the explanations of your research. And I'm interested in the what is it? The next level activities of this vocabulary activities. Actually, when we teach vocabulary, then the next level is the meaning, right? In sentences, there are some suffixes that can cause confusion when the students later use them, like able, an, or in, for example. So, what is the next level activities that you can recommend for this book, Rosinta? so that we can be ensured they what is it, can use them in context in sentences, for example. And if I'm allowed, I have one more question. Do you limit the number of suffixes taught in your research book, and what is the considerations of your limit?
Okay, thank
Okay.
you for the question, Mbak Eli.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you.
Ibu Rosinta, you can directly address the question.
Thank you, Ms. Astrid. Thank you, Ms. Ellie, for the questions. Your first question was about the next level activity for this after playing Suffix online Suffix Dominoes. So the next level activity that we did at that time was actually to ask them to identify the suffixes in the reading text because they were in the reading chapter
Mm,
at that time. So we asked them to identify the suffixes in the reading text. After they identify the suffixes, we asked them to explain the words or the meaning of the sentences with other words if they can
mm,
rephrase the words. So sorry, rephrase the sentences. So we actually know that they do understand the meaning of the suffixes
mm.
and how it morphs the root word into another meaning. Okay, so
Okay.
I hope that answers the first question. As for the second question, the limit, we only put 20 words, 20 root words, and I'm so sorry, 20 root words, and some 10, sorry, 10 suffixes for the online suffix dominoes. These suffixes are chosen because they are the ones used in the reading text. So we want to get them to be familiar with those suffixes. Also, the words are chosen because they are the ones that we have in the vocabulary section of the reading text. So that's how we chose the words and the suffixes. I hope that answers all the questions, Miss Ellie.
Okay.
Thank you, Bu Rosinta. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Bu.
for the question, Ibu.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Mbak Eli, and thank you for the answer. So it depends on because your context is helping students to comprehend the reading text. That's why the follow-up activity is something related to the reading text, right? Okay, and the
Exactly.
way you choose the suffixes are those the one appear in the reading text. Okay,
Exactly.
Ibu Dwi Kurnianingsih, I'm sorry, we will only have